All right, we are live. Greetings and welcome, community. We are so excited to bring you our very special guest, Elshiana from the Divine University. She has agreed to be our pilot interview here in regards to our WESAC, sharing the news about our WESAC celebration within the Divine University. This is a yearly event that the Divine University creates and has been creating for many years now. And I believe that's where we met originally at this WESAC event. And this year, Elshiana is going to be facilitating part of that event, which is called the Wave of Light. It's the 7 days before the WESAC event, which is happening on May 5th. And the angelic, let's see here, the Wave of Light is from April 28th through May 5th. WESAC is on May 5th, which is the full moon. And then May 6th and 7th, the Divine University is offering a little mini retreat, creating our bridge of light with the angels. So it's very angelic this year. And last year we held it online. This year they are holding it live in Mexico. So that is a great opportunity if you feel like hopping on a plane. So Elshiana is she is a licensed clinical social worker. She takes a spiritual approach to psychotherapy practice. She believes that to begin to know oneself as a multidimensional being allows for the opportunity to expand the bandwidth of accessing your higher consciousness, which offers elevated experience within your reality. So Janet Elshiana is a divine channel. She guides individuals and groups through guided meditations and activations and for greater expansion. She is honored to be a mentor of the Divine University and a facilitator for the upcoming Angelic Wave of Light meditation for the emotions. She is also a very integral part of the Universal Healing Program that the Divine University is offering as a free gift to the world. They're just completing their first wave of this, and the next wave will begin in May, so you can begin registering for that. We're going to start to put some links up in the comments so you can join and register to receive the free healing and get all the information about WESAC. So Elshiana is here to talk about evolving the emotions with the angels. And so firstly, what are the angels and what is the angelic connection?
Well, first, thank you, Zara, for having me and all of us that will be coming on, because there'll be others that will be in the Wave of Light, and also, that will be offering for WESAC and, all this that comes at this really amazing time of year, right? Where it's spring and we're at this new opening. It's the opening for the new blessings for your new year. So this is so timely that we can really just take our time and start to, it's like your closet, right? What still fits, what doesn't, what am I going to put away? Maybe I'll reassess another time. Maybe I just know it's complete. I'm complete with this. And that's where we are. So this whole ceremony that we're starting to move into really gives us this time to have support. So when I think of the angels, that's what I think of. They are our greatest support, I believe, that offer, on the planet for every being. And, some of us, or many of us have our own angelic light. And the more that we open, the more that we start to open our heart, we start to move past those places of just being in reaction, or we have a lot of conditioning. And when we start to move out into a different, like I said, a different bandwidth of how we can choose to make our way through the challenges of life and through the celebrations of life, our angelic light and those angels that have come in to support the earth, support us, becomes so empowering. And so I find that the angels, they are there. They are these, the way I see them, are it's these beautiful waves of frequency. Often I'll see different colors. Sometimes I don't see it all. Sometimes it's just this knowing, this presence that are there.
Yeah.
Maybe one thing that might help to give a little example is my most recent experience was really super fun because it wasn't expected. And I was working with this young woman doing a healing session, and she was really struggling at a crossroads in her life. And the crossroads was wanting what she wanted. And do I just stay in this place of really just powering through because I can make it happen? But is it really going to be in my highest? Is it going to really support me? And so we were maybe about halfway through the session, and I just felt her heart just starting to like open more, like this flower that starts to open when you just kind of let go. And out from, like, I want to say it's the southeast corner of my office that I'm sitting in. I saw and I felt this. It was a group, because they often they come as a group, and there was one standing on the front, so it was almost like this V, an inverted V, and this, basically what they were calling themselves was that we are offering the opportunity for you to see that there's many possibilities here, not just the couple that you know, but also all the ones that you don't know. And it was just this like flow of frequency and energy. And it was interesting because during it, she started to see like these flashes, like ideas that just was just like, oh, I never thought of this. Um, so when I to answer that, it is the angels, I do believe, help to assist us if we are so open and we invite them in to expand our viewpoint. And this is why I believe that they're so helpful when it comes to challenging um, our mind and our emotions and all that we know them to be up until this present moment.
Wonderful. Beautiful. I'd love to share a story, my angel story. Yeah.
Yes, I'd love
So
to hear.
cool. So this is going to be super casual, you guys. We're just going to have like a conversation about stuff.
Okay.
So, in my spiritual journey, I was always very skeptical about things. I grew up. I'll just say I was a very mistrustful person for quite a long time. I didn't trust people what they said. I didn't believe people what they said, and I was in a healing group, and I was taking a course, right, a healing course, and the woman that was the teacher, she was talking in light language, and she was very, very strange to me at the time, which is now it's totally normal. It was very strange to me at the time. So I was sitting there with this group of women while this teacher was doing her shamanic thing, and um and I remember, like, I was kind of like looking at her with one eye open and kind of going, what are we doing right now? Like, what am I doing? Am I just sitting here? Like, am I taking this whole Saturday just to sit here and like pretend to talk to angels or what? And like, this is ridiculous. And I heard in my head a voice that said, well, what would you rather be doing? And I was just kind of like, okay, fair enough. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah. But I'll tell you, like, through that initiation, it was like an 8-month course. It was an initiation of trust in the angels and knowing that they were there, because I didn't know that angels existed at the time. And
Mm,
what happened, like, towards the end of the course, is I went through this big initiation where everything in my life started crashing for
mm,
weeks. Car accident, lost my car, borrowed somebody's car, broke their car, break everywhere I was going, until one day I borrowed like a third car, and I got arrested. I got pulled over. I got arrested, paper arrest, and I wasn't allowed to drive the car back. And I was embarrassed. I was mortified to tell my partner because I borrowed two of his cars. And so I was crying until I finally just prayed. I said, I need help. Angels, if you exist, I need help. And from that moment on, everything cleared up. Everything just cleared up for me. And felt their presence around me. And yeah, and that was it. Then that was believer.
That is, I love that story. And it's so interesting that we have to wait until everything is crumbling around us before we're just like, okay, I give up and
Help. Yeah.
help. And,
Help.
so after you have some of these experiences, it's just like, you know what? I don't have to wait anymore. I
Yeah.
don't I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait till things fall apart. I can invite them into my life every day. There is nothing too small. There is nothing too big. They don't get tired of it. Um, and
Yeah.
they are your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
One of the little teachings that somebody offered me a while ago was to write down, like, on a list of paper, like, the things that I have to do today or the things that I have to do this week. And then on the other column is like the things I need my angels to do for me.
I love
And
that. I
it's
love that.
really an amazing little practice, and it's quite it's really surprising how they show up when you write it down for them. I don't do it as often as I should, but yeah.
Oh, that's a great tip, everyone. That's
It's a
super
fun
fun
little thing to do. Yeah.
to see what happens after that.
Yeah.
I just want to give one little other story that I think was funny because I was thinking about this morning because I hadn't thought about it in a while. That my very first, real experience with angels is way back when I had first learned IET, integrated energy therapy,
Which
and
is all angelic stream.
it's all angelic. So I knew, I kind of knew what the angels were before that, but you're full on in that, right? You have an attunements working with them, even though I really didn't know what was going on. But I was preparing for, I guess I must have just went through level one. So it was the end of the night. I was reading over everything. I'm laying in bed. I was by myself. And I just started to, like, I was not dozing yet, but I was just relaxing. And again, they was coming from the corner, this beautiful, huge blue sphere came like floating in, and then behind it, this pink sphere. And I was so unprepared, and they were like, they felt very intense and strong. The book went flying. My husband comes running in, I have sheets around my neck. I was like, wait, don't leave. I didn't mean to. I, I just wasn't prepared. But
That's so
I
funny.
felt like they didn't want to scare me, so they had left my.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you feel like, well, so did in that experience, did you see them with your physical eyes? Did you see
Yes,
that with your physical eyes? Yeah.
they were. Yes, it was very, very clear, very vivid.
Wow.
It's not usually like that for me, but the two that I'm telling you, those definitely stand out very strongly
Yeah.
for
Awesome.
me. Yeah, fun.
So, as a therapist, as a social worker,
Mm.
Elshiana works a lot with the emotional body and helping people move through their emotions and not attach to your emotions for the purpose of creating greater peace, right? And greater higher self connection. And um, what else would you say about that?
Well, what I would say is this: to me, it's always been uh, a natural marriage between raising your consciousness and really exploring who you are and who you want to be and what are you opening up to discover. And even with the times that there's benefit in revisiting the past, it's done so in this way that you can be more above the wave and not get so sucked into it, which is
Right.
easy to do, right? And so I think that's the other thing, that we need to be really kind and compassionate to ourselves. Um, we really do need, like, we really need to listen to our own voice, and and this is part of the healing, and this is how I approach that exploration, which is like, what voice am I using in this moment? Am I berating myself? I didn't do something good enough, or it doesn't matter, or this one didn't do it good enough, or there's this voice that you really, it's really helpful to say, is this the voice that I really want to use for my growth? And that allows the shift. If you know, it's really unhooking from the self-judgment, and we're very conditioned, right, to go into that self-judgment and judgment of others.
Yeah.
So in in the I want to say, I mean, it's therapeutic, but it's often it's spiritual in the way that it's the constant focus is that you can meet something, and you meet it wherever you meet it. And then it's about, how do I open my heart to really begin to embrace this experience, these thoughts, so that they can naturally come to this higher place.
And when
And
you say meet something, you're talking about the emotion that's within you, right? Or like
what?
the
The
trigger that's
emotion, the
within you,
trauma.
the
Okay,
trauma that
right, there's
creates
a
the
lot of trauma uh, that we hold on to. Um, yeah, to keep to meet and to identify. Here's the other thing: is we have all these emotions, and we have all these thoughts and all these stories, and as soon as we start to feel an emotion, we want to give it words, like anxiety, for one. Sometimes we're just anxious, but there's this need that we have, that I have to give it a reason for its existence. So
yeah,
we want to make sense out of it. So we go back into the past, even if it was an hour ago, about why I'm anxious. So this way, there's a part of us that says, okay, I can feel better that I'm anxious. But often it's really when you start to challenge yourself, is that really what's creating this discomfort right now? Or are you grabbing on to, or are we grabbing on to something to try to make sense out of it, to have that comfort again? And
yeah,
often that is the case.
yeah,
So we're always like kind of going into this wave of what's familiar, but it's not necessarily what the truth is.
yeah, yeah. You know, and I'd like to speak into that just a little bit. Like, so the emotions, everybody puts so much importance, right, on how we feel emotionally, and the emotions and how charged they are, and we believe the emotions, or we believe the thoughts. And on this journey, and it's been a long journey. I mean, I was a super drama mama. In my 20s, I was really a drama mama. And but through the journey of discovery, after there was a certain point when I actually realized that the emotions that I was feeling, a lot of the emotions that I was feeling in my body, weren't actually even sourcing from within me
Hmm.
as an empath. And I didn't realize that for most of my life. And so it created me to be like a people pleaser, right? So I wanted to make everybody else happy and comfortable so I could be comfortable. And I
Yeah.
didn't even realize that I was doing that until I understood that I was reacting to the feeling of discomfort in my own body that
Hmm.
was coming from somebody else.
Yeah, it's really common, isn't it? I mean,
It
I think
is, yeah.
yeah, it's our biggest, it's one of our biggest challenges. Is, we feel something. I know, even, you know colleagues who would say, well, if I feel it, this must be true, this must be real. And it's just like, I don't think that's always true. It's there's a whole host of reasons why maybe our emotion got triggered. As you said, maybe it's somebody else's, and we're sensitive. Maybe there was some resonance in something that we're holding, and something got triggered. Um, it could just be something that's in the collective, that,
Yeah.
we know, right, when the energy is really shifting, we feel it.
Yeah.
And we're always looking like, what's wrong with us,
Yeah.
or
and the
trying to.
and a lot of the light workers have that as a thing that they need to become aware of, um, that it's not them, that it's a collective wave sometimes that's just moving through,
Yes.
because we're spiritual beings. We're not really this matter. We're not really this body. We're waves and particles, and so emotional waves move through us, and the waves of the collective influence us. Yeah. So how do we, if we are experiencing all of this stuff, right, from outside of ourselves, or even from the trauma of our past, right? So like somebody does something or says something that brings up this feeling of unworthiness that was created from way back when, but then we're carrying that around all day, right? How do we come back to center? How do we come back to, like, if my goal is to be at peace inside of myself and inside of my body, how do I dissolve that or move through that, um, the emotional wave, or the emotional embodiment, right? That's coming over me, to come back to the peace that I am.
That's a really great question. So I'm going, if I go off topic, just bring me back because there's so much to say about that. But so what that triggers for me is what I hear often, which is that a lot of that whole being empathic, taking on the emotions, feeling out of center is this real need that we have to keep going, looking at what does so and so think of me? What does this group think of me? How do they feel about me? And we're constantly looking to see ourselves from that place of how others are viewing us. And part of the dissolving is just remembering that, first of all, if you have 1,000 people standing in front of you, they're going to have 1,000, even if they're just slightly different perspectives or feeling towards you that is being projected towards you, because they can, we can only, you know, be in our own. So it's always going to come through our own filter. Because so it's this understanding how often that, we get so out of balance is because we are in other people's energy field, because we're trying to figure out, oh, what does he think of me? What does she think of me? How is she feeling right now? Is she angry? Is she not? And you go around and everything just gets so small because, the lens becomes like super focused, and we get consumed with that, and you're naturally going to be out of balance because you are not even in your energy field. You are not in your center.
You're not even concentrating on yourself. You're concentrating on how everybody else sees you, right?
Yes,
And if you're so concerned about how everybody else sees you, then you're never going to be able to. It's almost like you don't care what you feel about yourself, or you're
that's
not that you don't
really
care, but
fair.
maybe it's like it's not in the forefront. Like, yeah. So yeah, through this evolution, it's more like, how do I feel about me? How do I treat me? How do I love myself? Because everybody else has their own perspective of me, and I can't control any of that.
That's
That's
right.
what you're saying? Yeah.
Exactly
Beautiful.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
so then we just like you remember that, I'm in this body and I have this beautiful light within me. And where is my light turned on? Am I less involved with what is going on, or this one is in a mood, or this one feels tense, that, I'm like in there trying to figure out what's going on, and do I need to do anything to make it better? Or do I need to just keep, like, literally, like, just drawing it back, and just like, it's a little invasive to keep going out into what others are thinking and what others are feeling. And when you grow up, especially in homes where maybe there's turmoil, a lot of conflict, maybe addictions, you can learn from a really young age how, like, it's like survival almost, to navigate, to see what the emotional temperature, right,
Yeah.
is of the room and the people, and it's survival, and it's just like, so then the challenge just becomes, do I even need this anymore? Maybe I did need it. It was a survival skill,
Yeah.
right? And do I really need it? And I think that's the other part. Sorry, is just, part of the dissolving is to really honor that many things that we experience is just truly part of our growth and part of our survival. So when you said before about being the drama mama, okay, so one of it is you have this big energy, and it was looking for its place to express itself. You have a lot of light, right? And then, so eventually, it's like that light that maybe at some point created the drama because it was focused, right? The light was focused on a problem. So then it became much bigger, right?
Yeah.
But that's the same light that brought you to this moment where you're in the spotlight and bringing others in the spotlight in a way that's really helpful and of service to yourself and to others. So that's why I keep saying just keep checking in with our voice and to be kind even when we look back. That's exactly all that brought me to the here and into this now.
Yeah. Awesome.
When
Wonderful.
we do a short a little journey later, we'll go through a few steps
Yeah.
that could be really helpful. They're simple steps,
Yeah.
but they're the ones I
Awesome.
use all the time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I'd just share. I would like to. Would you be open to answering some questions from our audience?
Let's try, sure.
Yeah, we'll try. Okay. So we'll have you guys write some questions in the comments if you have any questions about what we're talking about. We'll have a few minutes for that, and I'll share one of my recent experiences. Um, I a friend of mine, um, has the tendency to be very negative, right? She's very negative, and occasionally will put negative comments out there, right? Like when we were in high school, right? Like there's that negativity back and forth, like a joke,
Mm,
and she doesn't know that she's even doing it, and so. Most of the time, I just let it slide. Sometimes I just occasionally will ask, like, "Why would you say something like that?" But what I found myself doing when I would like it would she'd be questioning, like basically like who do you think you are, right? To be
mm,
who you are, right?
mhm,
And or to share these things or to help people or whatever it is. And and so it would start to hurt sometimes, and every once in a while I would feel it, and then in my coming back to center, it's like, well, who am I? I'm either this, my birth name, right? Jen. I'm either Jen, here I am, Jen, or I'm this divine light within me. I am the divine light within me. And so sometimes, as a personality level, of course, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall over. We're going to say things. We're going to hurt people's feelings on occasion or do things that aren't the highest. But ultimately, when we, instead of identifying with all of the things that we do or all of the emotions that we feel, if we make that divine light that is within us, that animates through us, our true identity, and come back to that often, I feel that for me, that dissolves the questions, that
mhm,
dissolves the emotional charge of feeling as though I need to defend myself for doing whatever it is that I'm doing, right?
mhm.
My magic.
No, that's beautiful, and I'm sure many can relate to that situation, Zara. And we talk about the universal law of reflection. That
Yeah.
often we're right. We need to go and visit, like, what part of my voice is still feeling maybe small,
Mm,
still feeling young. That it's who am I, and um, and that it needs to take the Zara needs to be able to open your own wings, right? And to begin to bring it in. So with that, and this goes to that other part of your other observation, is when we start to identify ourselves as bigger than our thoughts, the feelings that we struggle with, then we open it's the invitation. So this young man that I work, anyone that I speak to, by the way, I'm not mentioning obviously anybody's name, but I have their permission. I would never talk about anybody I work with without asking them first. But of course, everybody, most people like to have their experiences shared. So anyway, this young man in his 20s, who's had a long history of struggling with anxiety and severe depression, very recently, just sitting in front of me one day, and I, all I can see was like these tremendous archangelic wings. And so I said, well, let's just, because he would meditate with me. I was just like, let's just meditate. And it was this connection that, oh my gosh, I saw his wings just open, because the minute I said it, I just like his facial expression changed, and it was just like a light went on. And it was beautiful energy of Raphael. And and the other, he's a teacher for others too with mental health issues. And afterwards, he came in the next week, and it was like looking at a different person.
Oh, that's
And I
wonderful.
was like, what did you do? Like, did you have a facial or something?
He was glowing.
He was glowing, and he was just like, I have been opening my wings all week. Just keep fanning them every time, like I felt like some, I don't want to, say just negative, but like strong energies, or, that would be dense, that would pull me down. I just kept feeling like I had the ability, I had a tool that really I feel so connected with, to start to shift that to be bigger than myself. I feel like I'm in my big self. So I feel
Awesome.
like it was awesome. And I feel like this was like this week. And
Mm,
I feel like we all find our ways to find what that big self maybe looks like or feels like, but it's a beautiful key.
yeah, awesome. So, in a few moments, you guys, we're going to have a little meditation with Elshiana, but we do have a question here. So, how can we decipher knowing if the emotions we feel belong to us versus if we're picking up on other people's energy? Um, how would you like to answer that?
Yeah, this will be a two-person answer, right?
Yeah, well, I got some answers.
This is a great question,
It
and
is a
it
great
comes up
question.
a lot, and it's definitely something that I believe many of us start to maybe learn how to discern a little better. In the beginning, it is definitely challenging, because many of us are very sensitive, and we are used to, like I said, picking up the emotional temperature of those around us. And in a room, sometimes just asking that very simple question, like starting to really trust your own intuition, your own guidance, just by asking yourself this question: is this mine? Is this something that really needs my attention? Or is this really nothing? Is this something I need to engage in or not? Is this something that needs my attention, or does it not? The more you start to build, a lot of this is building up a muscle, and you'll start to notice the difference. The other thing is look, you'll also notice if you're sensitive, like you can walk into a room and maybe you'll feel the tension in the room. Again, it comes with a little practice, but you can just start to observe, like, oh, this is a little tense. So I'm just going to kind of, like I said, come up against the wave. Maybe I'm going to take out my own wings of light and just really wrap them around and infuse myself, my energy. And my attention is going to go somewhere. Maybe there's someone smiling that I see that I know. And I start to bring all my attention there, and the energies just starts to shift because you didn't keep meeting the energy. You recognized it, but you don't need to engage in it just because
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. I was going to ask you if there was something that you do when you feel like it's not yours. Yeah.
That's exactly what I do. And like most of us, I love the violet flame. So
Yeah.
because it's so cleansing, it's so fast. So you can just simply call in, just say, I call in the violet flame to saturate this, into spiral through my energy, through this room. just transforming any lower energies to their higher potential.
Yeah.
You just
Wonderful.
immediately, right, start to
Yeah.
feel this shift.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
But I do feel my wings, or I've, consciously visualized them being really big and just starting to just lift a little
That's
bit.
great.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
Awesome. So yeah, so I was taught so I took this class called Awakening Your Light Body back when I was about 30 years old, and that has shifted my entire life. That is when I felt other people's energy for the first time and knew that it wasn't mine.
saying.
And the reason why I knew that it wasn't mine is because I was feeling fantastic. And this is a really great
That's a good
way
point.
to understand when it's not yours. So, like, if you're feeling great, and especially for us light workers, if you've got a spiritual practice and you're raising your vibration and you're feeling groovy most of the time, and then you walk into another environment or you're around another person and your energy drops or that emotion hits you, and it's not something that you were carrying. And like Elshiana was saying, like oftentimes our mind's like, "Ooh, why do I feel anxious, or why do I feel this feeling all of a sudden?" And you look for a reason why you feel that. And oftentimes that is perhaps, especially if we're in a new environment with new people, that's a really great way to discern when it's not yours. It's kind of a sudden, I feel groovy, and now all of a sudden I don't feel groovy. Um, and so what I was taught in this light body course, which is something that I teach now with my light body students, is that we are taught to meet people at their level. We're taught that if somebody is feeling pain or sadness or anger, that especially like our friends, our loved ones, people that we're close to, we are taught to kind of sympathize with them, and we come into their emotional field to be with them in that space. And so what happens to our energy is, like, if we're vibrating up here, like if I'm like super happy and joyful and peaceful in my being, and now I'm suddenly talking to my best friend who's going through a really hard time, if I come down here to meet that person at their level and I start to feel it and take it on with them, I'm not really serving them. But if I were to stay here, if I were to recognize that dip but actually come back up, like Elshiana is saying, and remember who we are, right? And remember our feeling grooviness and anchor that back into our being, then we open that space up for them to actually come up. We hold a space for them to come up. And that's what Elshiana is talking about too. When we bring the violet flame with us and we infuse wherever we go, our vibrational field is ours to claim. And our vibrational field can be as big as we want it to be. So if we're in a room with a whole bunch of people, we can make our vibrational energy that big and we can infuse it with violet flame. And we're not healing anyone, we're not sending anybody, we're not changing anybody, but we're offering an opportunity that perhaps wasn't there without that intention. And I think that's so powerful as light workers to really start to claim the space that we're in and be the light.
Yeah, that was a great explanation. I love that,
Thank you.
Zara. As you're speaking, asking everyone to just start to tune in and just to feel where your body is, feel the energy around you. And chances are you can start to tune in that it's starting to feel bigger, right? And when we like minds come together, the frequency, because the angels have all been coming in while we've been speaking, and you can start to begin to invite your angels in to help to merge with your energy, to give you that lift, especially when maybe you're struggling a little bit, or even not. But you can just start to maybe even bring your attention to, like, have a big outside of you, throughout the room that you're sitting in, maybe throughout the whole building. As
Yeah.
you're sitting, right, you just start to sense. And when you start to realize how immense you are, like Zara is saying, you're much less vulnerable and likely to meet in that lower dense energy.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And along with that, one other tool that I use a lot, which can sometimes feel a little harsh, but it's truth, which is to ask yourself a lot, or I ask myself, if I'm getting a little involved with somebody's energy or I'm worried about what something that transpired, I have to stop and ask myself, is this my business? Is it my business to even look at what their story is and to have thoughts about it, or to project onto it, to discuss it with somebody else, to match their energy? Like, who invited me in? Is this my business?
Or to try to change
In
it, right?
practical and in yes, exactly. And that becomes very humbling,
Yeah.
I must say. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, would you like to offer the meditation for us?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. And then
Yes, of
after
course.
Elshiana offers us this beautiful little journey, I'm going to tell you about what's next. All right.
Perfect. Okay. So, wherever you are, you can have a choice, of course. You can choose to close your eyes. You may prefer to find some steady object to focus on, maybe even a flame if you have a candle lit, or a soft light, a stone, a crystal, whatever feels best for you. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. And to take 3 breaths that really you bring all your attention to. And when you inhale, to just bring all your breath in from that lower abdomen and think about drawing it into the back of your rib cage. And just the perfect amount of air will just come up through your chest. And each breath, just hold the intention of feeling your center, feeling the place within you, your seat underneath you, or the earth underneath. And just bringing all your awareness into the rising and the fall of your chest with each, becoming conscious that maybe if your mind is busy, you can exhale the busyness. You can begin to inhale beautiful ribbons of beautiful blue, waves of light frequency into your mind, into your body. And as you exhale, beginning to feel your muscles begin to soften. Maybe you notice somewhere that you're holding tension, where you can just allow a softness to begin to flow into that area, allowing for a little bit more space, a little bit more air, a little bit more room. Remembering that we are truly vast beings. And there is a lot of space within us. And each breath allows you to feel a little bit more present, and to draw your next breath and your awareness into your beautiful heart chakra that sits in the lower part of the center of your chest. And with each exhale, you can begin to fan the flame or the light within this beautiful crystal within your heart center. your beautiful heart center, unique to you, connected to all that is divine. Beginning to feel, to know, to connect to the purity that lies within the heart, no matter what experiences you've had, that you believe that you may have closed down your heart. To just ask any part of you now that has been very protected or closed, if it would just be willing to just receive the beautiful love that is here for you now. And inside, you can just say, I call to my beautiful angels now, my guardian angels, my guides, to come around me now. I call to these beautiful ones that hold such immense love for me to wrap their wings of pure light, pure love, pure divinity, and to begin to infuse this divinity, this purity into my cells, into my organs, into my chakra system, into my meridians, to sweep their beautiful wings of light through my mind and through the mind field in my energy body, to sweep their wings of light through my heart center and through all levels of my heart, all dimensions. And that as these wings touch any pain, suffering, hurt, I ask for these energies to allow themselves to receive the beautiful loving grace of divinity that allows and opens the door for pure love, acceptance, deep understanding, unconditional understanding, unconditional acceptance, unconditional love for all that it has created them. And on your next breath, if you choose, you may wish to think of if there is an issue in your life right now that you are struggling with. Or maybe it's a theme, a pattern that you keep meeting in relationships or something within yourself. It could be something simple, or it could be something great. It could be your own lack of motivation for self-care. It could be changes in your life that were maybe expected or unexpected. And as you think about just one issue right now, or one theme, you may notice or just ask, is my energy, or how much of my energy do I spend thinking about this? Do I spend thinking about maybe if there are others involved? How much time do I spend replaying the situations, the possibilities over and over? How much of my energy is tied up to the past with these situations or this theme? And to visualize now, if you choose, that in your heart center, you have this beautiful, like a fishing reel of light. And just to slowly, gently begin to turn and draw in everywhere where your energies, it might look like a bunch of tentacles or arms, anywhere where your energy has been involved in with others, maybe even with another part of yourself that may be harsh, judgmental with yourself. Just slowly, this is a fishing reel, it's of light. It is within your heart. And you draw it and you can reel it all in, all in. And as it comes closer and closer, there is a strong vortex of love, like a vacuum of pure love that is calling to it stronger. And it vibrates because it resonates with the remembrance of this love, this belonging, this remembering of its place, of its space, of its center. It is a remembering of one's clarity that comes when our energy becomes more centered and focused. As we remember that we are the keepers of our energy field. And our beautiful angels can lift us enough, merging their frequency with our frequency to reel in our energy. And if you give your attention into this heart center, to this beautiful place within your heart, you can gently ask yourself some questions, which is how much attention does this issue, does it truly need right now? You can ask yourself this in any moment, whether you're wide awake or in a meditation. But how much energy does this truly need right now? And if it does need your attention, then to just simply ask, where is my energy best served? Where is my best energy best served? Sometimes it's as simple as to go to sleep. Sometimes it may be something more active. If you have intruding thoughts or worries, so ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how true is these thoughts that I am having? How true are these emotions that I am having? Are they truly reflective of when my energy is centered? Or are they reflective of when my energy is more scattered. You may ask yourself the question, is there anything that I have been avoiding about learning about myself? And so I have been focused on those or situations outside of myself, that if they change, then I can change, rather than our true empowerment, which is when I shift, everything shifts. What, if anything, may I be avoiding about learning about myself? Maybe if you're having an issue that you've experienced in the past, some kind of heartache, fear, worry, you can think about the past. And you may even go back and visit that younger part of yourself. See that younger part of yourself, even if it was yesterday. Maybe it was when you were a child. And to be present, to show up as you are now in this light with your beautiful guardians, with beautiful open wings, to share your wisdom, to share your love, to wrap the situations, the experiences, the shame, the embarrassment, to wrap them all in your beautiful wings of light with your guardians and bring them back home. Bring them home to your heart. And as you take your next few breaths, to know that your guardians and your guides and your beautiful team of angels, that they support you deeply. They walk with you. You can call in angels for a need that you may have. Healing, maybe physical healing, maybe to assist in helping to heal or soothe your emotions. Maybe angels of clarity, relationship clarity. Maybe angels of divine intervention. Call, they come. They're here for you to remember who we truly are, who we are waking up to being, to know that we never walk alone. Even when we see or experience the darkest parts of our life or those around us, to know that we are always embraced in love and support, and to bring the light. Or maybe the light has not been seen yet. And on your next breath, beautiful angelic vibration, waves of vibration, of loving grace moves through your entire being, your mind, your heart, your body, your energy field around you, inviting you to open your heart to all that you may meet. Does not have to be invited in as a long-term guest. You pick up what you need to learn and you move. This love and grace wraps you deeply, infusing you with the miracles that come from grace. When you ask, you shall receive. There's nothing too big, nothing too small. They open the doors for miracles to happen. Just say yes. Just say yes. They open the doors for miracles to happen. I don't need to know how. I don't need to know when. It's just opening that door. I am saying yes. And your beautiful guides and guardians begin to seal your fields now with their beautiful filaments of divinity, of love, light, light, love frequencies. Anchoring your energy into this beautiful earth and into the heart of the heavens. Give thanks. Blessed be. Blessed be. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, that was so beautiful. Mm,
It's beautiful being here with all of you.
yeah. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your gifts. And if you would, if anyone wants to work with Miss Janet Elshiana, how can they reach you?
You can go on my website, which is the letter I, opening therapy.com.
I opening?
Yeah, the letter I, openingtherapy.com. It is in the midst of being revamped, so just keep that in mind. But you can always email me, iopeningtherapy@gmail.com. It'd be wonderful. So, thank you,
I'm
Elsa.
putting it in the comments for those of you guys that can see it, and we'll definitely put it in the description on the YouTube channel, so you can reach Elshiana if you are wanting to do some one-on-one work with her and the angels. And the other way to work with her is to join us for the WESAC celebration, the Angelic Wave of Light, which is again starting April 28th through May 4th. I think it's super cheap, right? It's like $35 for the 7 days.
Yeah, I think that was till April 2nd, and then maybe
You have like 2 days
2
to get
days, and then I
special.
think it goes up to $40. It's so inexpensive. It's 7 days, 45-minute meditations from really beautiful teachers through the divine.
7 different teachers and facilitators. Yeah.
And each meditation offers a blessing, angelic blessings for different areas of your life.
Yeah. Emotions, mind, spirit, all of those things. Yeah.
That's right.
And you get the recordings too to use whenever you want and
That's
come
right.
back to.
Being
Yeah.
alive.
So it's going
Yes.
to be amazing. And we're going to be hosting a few of those teachers on this channel. We have a beautiful Antara coming up next on April 17th. Um, I think that's a Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure. But I'll definitely put out some notices April 17th. and Tara is coming on, and she's going to be talking about humanity's birthing to a new level of consciousness. Humanity's birthing to a new level of consciousness. So it should be a really fun, fun night of discussion, and we look forward to seeing you all back then, asking your questions. I want to thank you guys all for joining us tonight. It's really been a beautiful experience. And thank you again, Elshiana.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.